right, gentlemen, thanks for joining me for week 3 of Wide Open Throttle. I want to start our discussion today by talking with you, Carlos, about a video you recently did on the AMS Alpha 12 GTR. First of all, you have ruined it for plenty of people who prior to seeing your video would have been perfectly happy with the stock GTR. Now the bar has been raised, but a lot of questions were raised as well. So this is one of the fastest street legal GTRs we've got, one of the quickest accelerating cars that Motor Trend's ever tested, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. However, compared to the stock model, from 0 to 44, or 45 miles per hour rather, they are the same. So what accounts for that similarity from 0 to 45?
But the problem it had was power application. It's making 1,100 horsepower on pump gas, and it can only deliver so much to those tires before they just start spinning. So we had the engine management software was downloading all the data, so we were able to look at that after the runs, and we're noticing that it's not developing full boost until 3rd gear. So before that point, I mean, it's basically just trying to fight traction. The rear tires are spinning all the way through 1st and 2nd gear, just trying to hook up. And then once you hit 3rd gear, you get the full brunt of the power and you just take off. And that's, you look at the trap speed, nearly 150 miles an hour, and that shows you that thing is making a lot of power. So it's close to the stock GTR and the Alpha 9 that we tested a few years ago to 60, but after that, and it's incredible speed.
If we change the tires, could we clock 8 seconds?
Well, we put drag radials on, and that dropped our corrected time to 9.8 seconds in the quarter. In order to get the 8 seconds, I mean, they've done this, AMS has done this at drag strips. You need to be on a drag strip. You gotta have the prep surface. You gotta have drag radials that are properly heated, and you gotta have race fuel. On race fuel, that car, they're claiming 1,500 horsepower. 1,500 horsepower, that's a lot.
9.8 on that surface.
9.8 on a dusty surface.
Pretty damn
That's
impressive.
incredible.
It seemed like you weren't working all that hard when you're rolling through the gears on that car.
It doesn't look it, but up here, you're like
Because
sensory overload.
in that Alpha 12, they've raised the RPM from the 7,000 to 8,000. So when we're normally used to seeing the shift lights hit and pull the paddle, no, you got to go basically to the tach buries itself and then make your shift. And it happens, especially the 1-2, happens so fast. You got to be real ready to grab that paddle before it even gets there for the 1-2. Otherwise, you're going to hit the limiter. Fun car. The Alpha 9 that we got to play with, I think was a more usable power. That one only, I think, had 800 horsepower.
Only 800.
Usable 800 horsepower.
And we drove that one about 400 miles. So
and that one,
it speaks to the reliability of the AMS
We not
car.
only drove it 400 miles, we drove it to Mojave, where we did multiple standing mile runs where the thing did about 190 miles an hour in the mile, and just kept doing it over and over, no problems. It was great. You know, I mean, that's a perfect tuned car that can be driven anywhere, then get used really hard, and then drive it back home and pop it in the garage.
The funny thing is we had, the in-car setup that we normally run on these episodes, and had it all mic'd up, and I was planning on delivering like an in-car while doing the acceleration, and like you can't. It's impossible because it happens so quick, and you have to be so focused on hitting your shifts at the right time that by the time you like realize that you're okay, I'm going to say something, you've already done the quarter, and then you're doing 180 miles an hour. You're like, oh, I need to slow down now.
Then you were just laughing at the end.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do.
Okay, so now let's shift from a popular video topic to a popular web topic. Scott Evans recently did the first test of the S7, and according to Scott, Audi has finally sunk the Mercedes and the BMW battleships. He says if you take the S7 pitted against any of its competitors, hands down it wins in performance. So, do we agree? Do we think that the Audi S and the RS models are taking over where BMW M Series left off?
Well, I mean, performance is one aspect of a vehicle. I mean, there's been plenty of vehicles that can go straight really fast, but once you get it on a canyon road or somewhere, differences and problems or weaknesses show up. Not to say that the Audi has that, but performance-wise, that's just part of the story. Comfort-wise, styling, interior comfort, and features. I mean, Audi has got some amazing technology coming in. I don't know if they've necessarily sunk. Actually, no, they haven't sunk anybody's battleship yet. They're getting better though, which is a great thing to see.
I think one of the problems with Audi is they've got to figure out where to go. I mean, Mercedes-Benz has AMG, and that is the performance brand, and BMW has the M cars. What's the Audi performance brand? Because sometimes it's S or sometimes it's RS. Now, in Europe, RS is very much the ultimate brand, but it just doesn't have the same resonance here among consumers as AMG or M. I mean, 50% of all the AMG cars built in the world are sold here in North America, and they're sold because of that AMG badge. People just love that, what that means.
Yeah, I think Audi's kind of gotten themselves into trouble with this SRS type thing, but the RS7 is coming, 553 horsepower from a twin turbo V8. That's pretty darn impressive, and that car looks fantastic. So the RS badge, yeah, definitely doesn't mean much.
With Mercedes or BMW, you get the the full Monty when it comes to AMG and M models. So they've got to figure out, are they going to be in the game or are they not going to be in the game? There is no question the cars are getting better and better, despite the inherent problems with the, having an engine hung out the front and all that sort of thing. The engines are delivering unbelievable power. They just need to then bottle all that lightning and put it in a single brand that people understand, that's the fast Audi.
I think their confusion stems from, Quattro builds those cars,
yeah,
but nobody knows what Quattro is. I mean, I mentioned it once, and we got a lot of comments saying Quattro is the all-wheel drive system, not the in-house performance division.
Yeah.
It is the in-house performance division, and I don't think the branding has been successful.
It gets back to that whole kind of thing. Quattro signifies all-wheel drive, but it's also,
it's a long name. I mean, Quattro GmbH. I mean, that doesn't fit nicely on a placard where AMG.
Right.
Yeah,
Again.
it fits beautiful.
It's also Spanish.
There you go.
But then there's the confusion. There's the confusion. People, and it is the all-wheel drive system. I mean, the original Audi Quattro was called the Audi Quattro because of the all-wheel drive system and the Quattro Coupe. So they need to figure out what it should be and just keep it simple. That always works.
But even though there are still some identity issues, maybe it's better to be, one who's throwing your hat into the ring instead of being a part of, BMW's M division, which some people are saying has lost its edge.
Yeah.
I don't know about losing the edge. The M's are...
All the BMW fanboys are already up in arms.
Notice we're all like...
I mean, honestly, I love the M5, the new M5. Like the new engine compared to the old V10, but they're different. We're really looking forward to the M4, which will be a weird thing to say, but really looking forward to seeing what BMW does with that.
You don't feel like the M5 was dipped in lead?
Well, that's just it. This isn't a sports car. It is a big sedan, not meant to be, considered something small and nimble and whatnot, but it can do it. It's a fun car. It's a bigger car. It's a fun car to go out and drive, Autobahn type speeds, and you can take it to a track and have fun. Probably not going to turn the fastest lap, but you'll have fun doing it. It's comfortable. Like I said, I like the new M5.
I think the kind of thing is a lot of the purists, and I think we found this out with the 911 too. It's kind of that evolution of technology and engineering that the Germans are famous for. Maybe they're over-engineering things a little bit, but I think that's kind of where this kind of bears itself out from. But personally, I'm a fan of high-tech stuff, so I'm all for it.
All right, let's shift gears now from our passion for performance to a recent report that indicates most people are not buying cars for performance, but instead for practicality. Toyota recently released its tally for global vehicle sales for last year, and they are once again the #1 top automaker in the world. So this company went through a tsunami, an earthquake, 14 million recalls, and they've come out unscathed. What do we think accounts for the amazing rebound and their continued popularity?
I think it points to the power of the Toyota brand. This company has spent a long time building decent cars at a decent price for people who just want good, solid, reliable family transportation. It's a global company, it has a global footprint. It has a product lineup that is pretty much global. So I'm not really surprised. It's the order of things. The notion that General Motors will be #1 again is, that's a lot harder to see coming, because there's these guys in Germany at Volkswagen AG who are determined to be #1, and I think they're the ones that Toyota need to be worried about.
Scott Burgess, our new Detroit editor, had a really good column the other day about this and how Toyota's #1 and how being #1 can be a problem, because then you start thinking about, well, we have to stay on top, we have to cut corners, we have to do different things, to be #1, and I think that was a great point. And I think we're starting to see that. Toyota's had some huge recalls lately, so maybe that's part of the issue that they're having. But as Angus said, Toyota's been a great purveyor of point A to point B cars. It's the kind of cars that we don't really have all that amount of passion for, but
You recommend it to your
yeah,
mom or your...
Yeah, absolutely.
kid.
You know, they've just developed that reputation here, and that's, you know, the domestics. It's a kind of reputation to domestics still in some respects. And
To say that Toyota's not necessarily performance type oriented, gotta say, last year, British Touring Car Championship, last race of the season, I happened to catch it last weekend. Toyota won a race in British Touring Car Championship with Frank Rathroll, sorry I'm probably butchering his name, driving the Dynojet Toyota. That was their first win, but there you go. I mean, they're in racing, they just won. They're gonna probably continue, I'm sure. They didn't win the championship, Honda won that, but still, I mean, to see them involved in motorsports, that's a fantastic thing as well, because that is kind of the one thing that they don't really have as a performance type car. I mean, one of their cousins is a performance car, but you know, where Honda has the Civic Si, a little performance car. Toyota doesn't really have anything like that, and it's nice to see them reaching out to playing racing, because it's still kind of the same. Win on Sunday, sell on Monday, kind of.
But does Toyota even need to do that if they're already selling all the Corollas and Camrys?
Nah, but this will just open it up to even more people. People that think, oh, Toyota, why would I get that? I like to go out and drive. Well, you know,
well, the FRS I think was part of that. Obviously, it's a Scion, but you know, we had some Toyota execs in here recently, kind of talking about. Kind of picking our brain about a possible super revival. So I think they understand. Their chairman is a racer. He races the LFAs. So he understands too that they have to have some vehicles and some products that, you know, excite people. And I think the FRS was a good first step.
That was disappointing to me that they called it a Scion. It should have been a Toyota GT86, which it is everywhere else in the world. It's just that the Scion brand, they had to give it something to keep the thing alive.
Right.
It should have been a Toyota.
I'll take a Scion FRS over any Corolla
Me too.
any day of the week, though. If they're number one, and that means they might make a FRS on the side or a GT8 or 6, whatever they call it. I don't care if they're financing war criminals. Just keep giving us more FRSs, you know.
It's really astonishing how the Corolla and Camry continue to be such huge cars, especially the Corolla is like an old 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old car. It's amazing.
Yeah, but they're bulletproof. You know, when the nuclear war comes and LA's wiped out, all the cockroaches will be driving Corollas because they're indestructible.
So we'll get them in the end.
To the everlasting Corollas.